How you doing? This is Hey Chicago Sports.
Hey, Sports Chicago. It's one of the two. It's a work in progress.
Yep.
Well, it's work in progress. We'll figure it out.
So, as promised, we're going to try to stay on point here as a recap of the Cubs game. The Cubs got beat 3-0. Hopefully, we don't, we're going to try to stay on a recap of the actual game and save the end of the year criticisms and management styles and stuff for a later date. But they started out with a bullpen game, and first inning, Kickrich gave up a run at the time, and for the longest time it was 1-0. And then they brought Imanaga in the second inning. Now, Kickrich is obviously done for the remainder of the season. Cubs lost 3-0, so now it's one game apiece, and there's a winner-take-all game tomorrow at Wrigley Field.
At 2:08.
Okay, but so when Kickrich gave up that run, we here at the mansion were talking about, I hope they don't lose by a run because that was critical. Then Imanaga came in and didn't do bad. He was a little erratic, and then I think it was the fifth inning or sixth inning, fifth inning, I think.
Why did he pitch to Machado?
It was lefty versus righty, okay? And that's a good question. Why did he stay in the pitch to Machado? Because Council's always big on the lefty versus lefty, righty versus righty. And he kept Machado in, or kept Imanaga in the pitch to Machado, and Machado hit one into the last row of the bleachers, almost out, and then it's down 3-0. So now the strategy of the bullpen game goes out the window because now the Cubs are down 3-0. Okay, we were talking about if the Cubs lose by a run when we would question the bullpen game, but you still got to kind of question the bullpen game to a point where Kickrich pitched 17 pitches in the first inning, and he pitched yesterday. So in all practicality, he's done for this series. So that's one less pitcher for tomorrow.
And you went through a lot of them today.
Okay. That's one less pitcher for tomorrow. Now, I would not be opposed, because then after the home run they took Imanaga out, and he only pitched 64 pitches. Okay, so tomorrow it is all hands on deck. If Imanaga needs to pitch 20, then they put Colin Ray in the game.
He's a starter.
Colin Ray could have been tomorrow's starter.
He could have been today's starter.
He could have been today's starter. Assad could have been today's starter. Okay?
Imanaga could have started.
Imanaga came in the second. He could have started in the first. So I don't understand this. Getting a bullpen guy to come in to pitch the first inning and then bring the starters in. I didn't understand that. Okay, and I still don't understand it. You would never do that with, but I almost slurped and said a St. Louis Cardinal. I don't want to do that. You would never do that for Randy Johnson.
Nope.
You would never do that for Nolan Ryan.
Nope.
You would never do that for Ferguson Jenkins. Nope. The greats. You know what? Here's our strategy: as you're sitting in the pregame, we're going to start Bruce Sutter one inning. And then we're going to sit him. So he can never be our closer. So we can pitch another guy. And to turn back the clock just a little bit, when Kevin Cash did that nonsense with Tampa Bay, that cost him a World Series. So I think a bigger story headline is, as you always have said, if the Cubs don't hit home runs, they lose ball games.
This year anyway.
And they didn't hit the ball out of the ballpark today and got shut out.
Yeah.
Couldn't even manufacture 4 singles in a row.
They got 4 hits?
4 total hits.
Armstrong.
My boy, okay.
That's your favorite player.
Is
and he's
0 for 6 with 5 strikeouts. You could very well put me in that batter's box. I could strike out 5 out of 6 times.
And why do people, and there were a little bit of Nico Horner chance at the end of it, but we were looking at some of Armstrong's statistics. His on-base percentage is .287. Why is anyone cheering for him and only him?
You know, I don't know, and that's a good question.
His on-base is .287.
It's been
horrible.
It's historically speaking, people who are striking out 5 out of 6 times and not getting on base, and they're benched. Their ass is on the bench.
This is his, what, second season or third season?
I think this is
his first full season as a starter.
And then last year, he played. He got in, and then the year before that was when the trade was made for Baez.
And I know you don't want me to go on a full filibuster here, and I'm going to try not to. However, I'm going to feel the need to address certain things. Okay. And I said this, we were watching the game. I said this watching the game. And we compared this to the team from 2015, 2016. Hell, even the other teams. This Cubs team, apart from like 4 guys, there's only 4 guys on this team you can actually sufficiently rely on. Horner, Kelly, Bush, Seiya. That's it. There are 4 guys here that you actually like. 4 guys here that you can actually really put on your faith in.
And if any of those guys got traded, it would not be the end of the world. People would, like we said, it would not have been like the mass exodus when the Cubs traded Bryant away.
Yeah.
And when they let Rizzo go. And when they let Baez go. You know, and they did that whole mass exodus. People were crushed. Okay? And the 4 that you mentioned for this year, they're the guys that are hanging around, but they're not. The following for them isn't what it is compared to Pete Crow Armstrong. Gamers produce. Like you mentioned, Ian Happ would go up there. Okay, Ian Happ struck out.
Like Ian Happ, it's like.
But Ian Happ would battle.
Ian Happ is tough to watch a lot of times. However, he's a Gold Glover in the outfield. I'm not afraid of him in the outfield. I'm not afraid for him in the outfield. He's a switch hitter. I understand.
And he makes pitchers
battles.
work.
Yes.
He makes his at-bats are 8, 9, 10 pitches. Pete Crow Armstrong, it's swing and miss, ball in the dirt, swing and miss.
They showed the graph today. He has the highest swing percentage than anybody. That meaning Pete Crow Armstrong, and I know it sounds like we're only harping on him. We're not. We're going to get more into this later in this episode. But yet, Pete Crow Armstrong has the highest swing rate than anyone in all MLB.
But you know what the statistic they didn't show?
What?
What was his swing and miss rate? I want to know that. Because if you're striking out,
that's got to be the highest one.
I think you got to have your swing and miss has got to be up there as well. Because he could be swinging and grounding out, and he did ground out today to first.
Because I saw some people harping on Armstrong, but not in the way of Ian Happ, not in the way of Kyle Tucker, no, not even the way of Seiya Suzuki. But when you're Pete Crow Armstrong, you're PCA, and you are the star. Like, let's say it as it is. You don't like it, I don't like it, but he is so far the star main attraction on this team that people want to see. And this goes back into my next point that I'm going to hit on here. Pete Crow Armstrong has been hitting .247 batting average, on base at .287. That's abysmal. And his batting average against left-handed.
Well, it was 188 going into today, and he made it out against a lefty today, so it could be maybe 187.
And in the last couple of games, playoff games primarily, what's his?
He's 0 for 6.
That's horrible.
With 5 strikeouts.
That's horrible.
And you know what kind of grates me even? When you go by initials, he's got a name. He was given a name. But we gotta, and that bothers me. If you're gonna be PCA, then you know what? You gotta be a stud.
Yeah.
You gotta back this up.
And he's got all the piercings and the dyed hair like Dennis Rodman and whatever.
Yes.
But you know what? Rodman wasn't looking like a weirdo until he won like 5 championships up until that point.
If you want to be, if that's how you want to be looked upon, with initials and then okay, and people are going to say, well, he did back it up. He got hit 31 home runs and 94 RBIs.
Okay, but you know what? He's hitting 247.
But
and his on base is 287.
And we are in playoff mode. And I want to know, and if you turn back the clock with some of this stuff, he had multiple home run games.
Yeah.
Okay. And he had multiple home run games against the Cardinals, and they were beating the shit out of him. 11-1, and then he would hit another home run.
And according to our St. Louis Cardinals companions and friends, apparently people didn't like that Cardinals team.
And he hit multiple. So my question is, how many big time hits? People. They perfect example today. They intentionally walked. The batter in front of Pete Crow Armstrong.
And they took Dylan Cease out of the game for that.
And they brought the lefty in.
The Padres took Dylan Cease out of the game for this because they thought they were so confident in this entire outlook, and they were right.
It's a playoff game. You're only winning 3-0. You intentionally walked and said, "Go to first." Because we know what's coming up. And then we're going to go lefty against lefty, and that guy shoved it right up his ass and struck out Pete Crow Armstrong.
Yeah, he did.
Okay?
He did. But,
And if we kind of stay on point here a little bit and you don't go off the rails, you got to wonder, counsel, at that moment...
I'm trying not to.
Okay, but at that moment...
I'm trying not to.
How many times... did a lefty come in the game and Justin Turner pinched hit for Matt Shaw?
But this is where...
But they could have done that today.
They could have done that sooner. They did that in the ninth.
But
they could have done that sooner.
But once again...
Finish this out.
The fans and the marketing... The marketing of Pete Crow Armstrong... See, I don't even try to go initials. The marketing of Pete Crow Armstrong...
Let me say
is huge.
Let me say this, and this... Again, this follows it. Everything we're going to say here, it all boils down to one another. Anyway, I said this, and you even agreed with me. Because I don't want to say the word that you... Okay, do you hate Pete Crow Armstrong?
I don't know him personally, but you know what? I hate the way he plays the game.
Okay, that's all I need to know. But anyway, and he agreed with me on this. Cub fans like Pete Crow Armstrong. Chicago media likes Pete Crow Armstrong. The young baseball fan playing the video games like Pete Crow Armstrong. The people collecting the baseball cards like Pete Crow Armstrong. He is a name that people want to see. Whether we agree or disagree with that, that's the matter thereof, and you just have to accept it. However, and this is where, and I won't go off the rails here, I promise you, but this will be addressed. However, if Pete Crow Armstrong, who in his first real official season as a full-time starter, is hitting 247 batting average, 287 on base, which both of them completely subpar, not even marginal at best. His OPS is what, 700?
748, I believe.
That's not even marginal. That's not. The guy has been struggling the entire year, and the $40 million coaching staff has never, in their wildest dreams, ever assisted him with this. And it's been a miracle that he has never been ejected for throwing the helmet and throwing the bat. You can be ejected for that. Fun fact, Javier Baez has been ejected for that. Rizzo been ejected for that. Bryant got ejected for that. Andre Dawson got ejected for that. Need I say more? You get my point. But it's been a miracle with a guy of his caliber of talent, and he is a talented, athlete. He is. It's just the fact of the matter thereof that they don't have a grown-up in the room, and it's just, you be you. Oh, don't worry. Oh, you be you. Do whatever you need to do. Okay, well, congratulations. Now here you are in playoff baseball with no discipline at all whatsoever, and you got your backs up against the wall when you should have just closed out the victory today, and you didn't do it. Now, it's not entirely on him.
Right, and they're limited, okay, and they're
Not
limited.
entirely on him.
They're kind of limited to what they can, because they don't have many chess pieces to move around.
They don't.
They do, but not quality ones, because, we saw today that the Miller guy.
He was throwing hard.
The Padres picked him up at the trade deadline. The Cubs got Willie Castro.
That was literally it.
Okay.
And again, I'll go off the rails.
I'm not banging the drum that Willie Castro should, hit for Pete Crow Armstrong tomorrow. But you know what? You're 0 for 6. You've struck out 5 of the 6 times. Why not make it? Yesterday, Jazz Chisholm did not start for the Yankees, and he hit 30 home runs. He hit 30 home runs. He didn't go in the game till the 8th inning, and he pouted during the press conference. Now, are they Are they think that Pete Crow Armstrong, Aurelio's, it's the sauce? Are they thinking that Pete Crow Armstrong might be that? You're 0 for 6. And if you look at the at bats, he's not even close to getting a hit.
By the way, we are not paid sponsorship. We just really love the food.
So you got to ask.
And it's great to cheer people up.
So now you got to ask the question about tomorrow. Do you play Pete Crow Armstrong? Ian Happ is 0 for 6 with also 4 strikeouts.
And why is Ian Happ batting third? Why is Ian Happ batting the top 5?
Okay, you got to go tomorrow like Little League. The guys who are getting on base are your first 5, and I don't care if they can hit home runs or not. So if that were to be the case, the lineup tomorrow.
You're writing it down?
Well, I got them. I want to make sure.
1 through 9, go.
Well, obviously, Bush leads off.
Okay. I would put Bush at 5.
Okay, well, he's going to get Horner. Okay. Or Horner leads off.
Okay.
Horner leads off, and Bush is 2. Okay? And then I'd go with Kelly 3. Okay?
They have to win.
All right?
They have to win.
And I would put Suzuki 4. Okay? All right? Then now you start slipping. Now you go to the 5 hole. Tucker got a hit in that base hit in the 9th today. So I would go, Tucker at 5. Now you gotta go.
Hand me the remote.
Are you go which one?
The one to change channels with.
Then do you go?
Thank you.
Do you go Happ 6 or do you go Swanson 6?
Let's see what the post game is talking about.
Okay. Or better yet, how about this? How about no Tucker?
Cubs only have 1 extra base hit.
How about no Tucker and you go Ballesteros 5?
That'll damage his psyche, wouldn't it?
Then if they don't win tomorrow,
If you don't win tomorrow, you're done.
Tucker's not going to be around anyway. Tomorrow could be Tucker's last game.
I don't know about that. I think Tucker will be back.
Okay. Then you go Ballesteros. Well, then you go Swanson, because Swanson's a right-handed hitter. 7 is Happ.
But this entire game plan didn't work.
8 is Pete Crow Armstrong, and 9 is Shaw. And there's your lineup tomorrow.
But this entire game plan today just did not work.
Well, it didn't work, but it didn't backfire because the Cubs lost by 3.
Well, they got shut out.
Right. If they got beat by 1 run, this nonsense of this bullpen by committee stuff would have been a disaster.
Yeah, and you know what? As I said, and again, said it during the game, and we will never, let me say this from the most sincere bottom of my heart, because I know we have a wide audience out there, not a very, very, big one compared to certain other platforms that shall not be named, because it's neither here nor there. Nothing against those other platforms, it's just we don't need to touch base with them. But it's just, we will never do a live stream watching a game of any sort because, no, it just will not happen. However, in the process of communicating amongst one another, it was referenced of the notion of it's just this great and glorious video game number offense that this 2025 Chicago Cub team has been having so far. It's not as real as people think that they are. And you said that at one point in time, you said it on the previous episode we just did earlier today, they were, 6.5 up?
We're gonna down the road. I'm not gonna try to discuss it, but at one time,
because I'm not trying to get you.
Their largest lead in the division was 6.5 games in June.
Okay.
Something. There's a date, and then they went and then fell behind to 7.5, which was a 14-game swing. Okay.
So then,
which put them in this position that they're in now, playing wild card games.
Okay, but then that swing of that is an indicator on your offense.
Absolutely.
Because, if you had this great, big, powerful, home run hitting offense, like you're like the 27 Yankees or something, then why did you have that swing going?
Because and then once again everybody goes, well, on the ridiculous amount of the two double-digit winning streaks that the Brewers had, 2 11-game or 12-game winning streaks, that's what the reason. No, if the Cubs would have just won half of those games out of that 14-game swing, they would have won the division.
Yep.
They would not even be playing in this series. They would be waiting for their next opponent and having home field advantage at Wrigley Field. So yes, they won 92 games, and they said the Brewers won close to 100 or 99. But it's what the Cubs failed
to do,
as opposed to what the Brewers did.
Failed to do.
And you got all these, like you say,
sabermetrics and WAR and wins above replacement and everything.
They mentioned it today. The Cubs were in the top 4 home runs.
But that's it. That's your only offense. It's the equivalent of
4 guys hitting 30 or more home runs.
You coached football, did you not?
Yes.
Okay.
I coached them all.
Okay, you coach all sports.
And football was the easiest to coach.
That's an entire episode in itself. But anyway, if you had an offense on your football team where it was just Hail Mary, nothing more, nothing less, are you going to win?
No.
No.
And that's why, even though Green Bay Packers had 6 plays, but it was ground and pound. It's stop us. The Cubs are waiting to get a walk, a hit, and a 3-run homer. The old Earl Weaver, Baltimore Orioles in the 70s. Get the 3-run homer, okay? But the only guys that are hitting the 3-run homers are Bush, Suzuki,
Kelly.
And Kelly. Now, people are going to say Pete Crow Armstrong, yes, sir, break. No, Pete Crow Armstrong has only got 6 home runs after the All-Star break. Okay, I'm not counting on Pete Crow. I was cheering for Pete Crow Armstrong to have one more at bat in the 9th inning so he could strike out again and strike out 6 out of 7 times.
Because you even said that you're surprised no one's booing him.
Nobody is booing him.
No one is. And there's chants. PCA. Like he's Reggie Jackson at Yankee Stadium.
See, and Reggie Jackson was the opposite. He got the name Mr. October because, you know what? In August and in September, he would dog it, and Steinbrenner would be on his ass, and they'd pull him out of a game. But goddamn it, October, and we're in October baseball now.
Well,
Reggie Jackson would come up to the plate.
You might not be.
we're technically in October now.
Oh, we are. I forgot about that.
We're October, and Reggie Jackson would come up with 2 men on, and it would be at the Bronx.
Oh, yeah,
and then boom, boom, boom. He got those. No one's calling Pete Armstrong Mr. October.
No.
Right now, he's playing October baseball for the first time, and he's 0 for 6 with 5 strikeouts.
That's horrible.
That is his career right now in October baseball.
And they're interviewing, and you as in the audience, you can't see our TV, but they're interviewing, talking to Dansby Swanson, who he's been up and down too. He's been very problematic. Runs, batting average, runners in scoring position, horrible.
And these guys that hit 30 home runs, they're having career years. What happens next year if they come up? If they're 4 or 5 home runs short, they might find themselves in 3rd place.
But here's my other thing of it is, they've kind of piecemealed their entire way to this spot. It wasn't like, oh yeah, they're gonna make it, because they're not gonna hit 5 singles in a game and steal 2 or 3 bases, then win. They're not gonna do that. They're never gonna have to be in a pitcher's duel and win 1-0 or 2-0.
Oh, they got all these stolen bases. Well, you got to get on bases. You can't steal first.
No.
You got to get on. Today they had 4 hits. They have struck out now 21 times in these last 2 games.
After clinching the wild card spot, they lost 5 in a row. Now, you are big on the home field advantage. I'm more concerned of they clinched and then immediately lost 5 in a row. No, the momentum swing of that. Because again, $40 million not to have grown up in the room.
So, I don't know,
And if they lose tomorrow, and I know you don't want me to open up this Pandora's box, but if they lose tomorrow,
if the Cubs lose tomorrow, then we will have the show where you can just go off on management from start to finish, because you want to do that.
Oh, I do.
And we're going to have the episode.
And you got nothing but files. You got nothing but papers and documents, just following their statistics the entire season. That's all you got.
And then we could go back to what they did or didn't do at the trade. Mostly didn't do at the trade deadline. You could go off on the whole Jed Hoyer and the Ricketses and Council, and I'll give you all the time you want. But today, right now,
because
this is the recap of what didn't happen today.
And we'll say, oh, okay, well, what also didn't happen today, and double entendre here, Kate Horton, not here. Justin Steele, not here. Justin Steele, not here twice.
And Dylan Cease pitched today.
Yep.
Ex-Cub, and tomorrow Hugh Darvish is going to pitch against an ex-Cub.
Well, I'm tired of hearing. Okay, let me set the record straight on the Dylan Cease thing. When Dylan Cease was here, he was never going to make the top 5 starting rotation. When Dylan Cease was a Chicago Cub, all those years ago, he was never going to make the top 4 or top 5 starting rotation. And he never did.
Okay, but
they traded him away.
Okay, but at that time,
you can't play what if like that. And I know I'm kind of a hypocrite with it, because I just go more of just what happened and what didn't happen.
All right, then you got to help me. Remind me who their 4 starters were.
Back then?
Yeah.
Well, Hendricks, Arrieta, Hamels. Cease could have been the 5th one, but he wasn't like in the top 3.
And Cease was how old?
I have no idea.
He was, but they're hanging. They're hanging. Okay,
you didn't know who Dylan Cease was until he was a White Sox.
No, I knew who Dylan Cease was when he was a Cub.
Well, he wasn't prominent.
No, but he's playing the same part that Ben Brown's playing.
Why couldn't Ben Brown start today? Why couldn't Ben Brown pitch today?
Okay.
How many pitchers do they go through today? 7?
Well, I'm watching Soroka,
Okay.
Rogers, Thielbar,
Kittredge.
Imanaga,
Palmer.
Colin Ray.
Pomerantz go.
No, I think they went through 6 pitchers.
Who's pitching tomorrow?
According to, they're saying Jameson Taillon.
And at one point in time, he was.
Or another bullpen game.
One point in time, well, you don't have the luxury to go to a bull.
Well, Pomerantz could start because Pomerantz was, in a previous life, was a starter somewhere. He's got some starts. So, and I think Pomerantz even started a bullpen game this year for the Cubs. So it wouldn't surprise me if Pomerantz. But you know what? Tomorrow's all hands on deck. I just said earlier that Imanaga only pitched 62 pitches. He could come back. Colin Ray only pitched an inning and a third.
Kittredge can go. He only had 1 inning.
But Kittredge pitched yesterday, and he's a reliever.
He could still make
probably
an appearance.
be, so,
if they don't win tomorrow,
and if they
don't win tomorrow against the Padres to exercise the demons and fail to do it,
because we probably will not do a pregame. This is probably our pregame show for tomorrow.
Pre/post.
Because if they do lose, we will decompress.
If they lose, I don't want to talk about baseball anymore.
Then we may take a day off and really decompress with what goes on for the future, and then let him just go.
Oh, be prepared for that show.
They didn't do much at the trade deadline, but then it's what's the future going to be like? My biggest concern is you got all these outfielders. You didn't want to trade them at the deadline. So is there a future for the Canadian guy?
Owen Casey.
Owen Casey. Is there a
Kevin Alcantara?
Kevin Alcantara, Ballesteros, who's a DH.
And he can play third base.
And then, are you going to pay King Tut? So then what's going to happen? Why, and then if these guys were available at the trade deadline, are you just going to hold them as another pawn for next year's trade deadline? I don't know. But, then that's going to be a whole administration show.
If only somehow, some way we had that same depth of our pitching staff. If only Chris Flexen, who had an .833 winning percentage before he got cut, was here. If only Ryan Presley, who was an excellent setup man, if only he was here. But you know what? No.
But
won't do it.
The Cubs got beat 3-0, 4 hits.
Didn't score a run.
1 walk, and it was an intentional walk that they did to get to Pete Crow Armstrong.
Yeah.
So no errors. So they had 5 or 6 base runners.
Everything went wrong towards them. Nico Horner hit the ball and it hit the pitcher in the ankle, then it bounced to the first base.
But it ain't over. We got one more game.
It's not looking good. It's not looking optimistic.
So, we were on earlier, so we're going to kind of cut this one short. We're at the point now where, because we don't want to go off the rails and just start, but there will be a show like that. They play tomorrow.
If come time.
The greatest thing in the world, if it would ever possibly happen, is when a rain out. And then all pitchers can be ready to go, but that's not going to happen. No. You got 2 more games tonight. You got the Yankees and Boston, and then you got hopefully the Reds could show up against the Dodgers.
They won't,
because I don't want to see that nonsense. That's really all that's on tonight. No Wednesday night football. At this point in time, if this was Thursday tomorrow, you could go into a college football game and an NFL game. But then, or a celebratory kind of situation if the Cubs win against the Padres tomorrow.
Frustrating too, because when the Cubs lose, it feels more that they beat themselves. That's what this felt like. They looked like that. They looked anemic, pathetic, lethargic, sad, because he didn't want to be here.
And I'm also going to, and this is my last thing, I'm just going to say, I'm already pre-announcing this, that if the Cubs were to lose tomorrow, people will be coming out of witness protection
Oh yeah,
to throw zingers at us.
Redbirds.
They kept their,
Yep.
they have been,
Because-
you know what? What time do they play tonight?
They don't.
Yeah, that's my point. When do they play? Okay.
So, next March.
And they played how many games this year?
Same number of everybody else.
And the Cubs are playing 3 more than them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Jameson Taillon, there he is.
I think they're going to pitch in tomorrow.
Oh dear. Okay.
So the Jagbag Cardinal fans, that if you're going to come out and go, ha, you lost. Well, you know what? Okay.
Oh.
I'll use your we make it. And you don't hear us saying we.
No.
That's the other thing with Cardinal fans. It's we. Like any Cardinal fan, I said we does. I turn back and go, well, how many hits did you get? And they go, what do you mean? Well, how many errors did you make? How many catches? The we shit don't work. Okay, they make it sound like they're swinging the bats, but I'm already preparing myself for that. But you know what? My argument would be is, were you in the playoffs this year? And the answer to that is no.
But it was your team in the playoffs.
Yeah, but
no, I know. It's going back to what you.
Yeah. So, but we'll.
Hey, St. Louis, talk to me when you get an NFL team, which is something you never will.
So when the Cubs win tomorrow, okay, we will probably have a celebratory show.
If the Cubs win tomorrow, if the Cubs win tomorrow, and if there's any playoff round victory I want them to get, I want them to do it against the Padres more than anybody else at this point. But yet, because they need to exercise the demons from 40-something years ago, in the memory of Ryan Sandberg, they need to do that. But yet, if they win tomorrow, this all goes to bed. This all goes to bed, doesn't see the light of day. You and I are not going to be as belligerent as we would normally be, or better yet, I would not be as belligerent.
When we would probably do a show on Friday. We're probably not going to, if the Cubs lose, we're probably not going to do the show immediately after the game tomorrow.
Oh, I don't. Don't quote yourself on that.
Because,
Don't quote
people can
yourself.
go on tangents, and we could go up a million reasons why, but I think cooler heads will prevail. Still, we'll get our message across down the road about what the administration did or didn't do.
But again, you're not going to do a whole lot in playoff performance when you have players breaking their ribs mysteriously.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But until then, the Cubs are 1-1. They play tomorrow at 2:00. We think Jameson Taillon is going to get the start against Hugh Darvish, 2:00.
Can they get to Yu Darvish in playoff baseball?
Well, there was the reason the Cubs got rid of Hugh Darvish, so I don't.
Well, Yu Darvish,
and we'll see what happens. All right, so at this time, we're going to shut down. If you're looking for us, we're either under Hey Sports or Hey Chicago Sports, or
but it's going to be Hey Chicago Sports, or Hey Chicago something sports.
The reason once again, if you did the Hey stuff, it was going to some soccer nonsense,
which was unrelated to us.
Yeah, so we threw the Chicago in. If you do that, it'll pop right up. Okay,
so thank you to many of our viewers. Thank you to our subscribers. Thank you, and once more, we are not. We repeat, we are not, in all caps. We are not affiliated officially or professionally with Aurelio's Pizza. It's just, we just really like the pizza.
It's the sauce.
The sauce.
All right. Good night.
Good night.